Hey good people, welcome back to Beauty in the Frizz. My name is Cara. Whether you're new or returning, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me for another one today. Today we're talking about how much I spent on beauty and fragrance now in the month of March. It started off well, that's all I can say. So if you want to go through and kind of talk out these purchases and kind of hear about how I'm still feeling about them and whether or not I have any preliminary regrets, keep watching this video. Let me know what you think. And if makeup is your therapy and your love, if it makes you happy and you want to hang out with someone that feels the same way, definitely consider joining the community. I'd love to have you back. All right, let's get started. So y'all, oh my gosh, I thought about doing makeup for this video and then I was like, it is the day before I go back to work. I'm ready to go back, but at the same time, I'm just like, because this is the time of year where it gets, as my principal would say, kind of spicy. And we have testing coming up. There's a lot going on. So it is what it is though. I'm thankful for the time that I had off and I'm thankful for a job. So I'm gonna go into it with that vibe. So I have my notebook here and I am gonna be talking about the money that I spent in March. As I'm looking at this, I was gifted one thing, so we'll talk about that. March started off really well. I feel like it started off slow. And then towards like the end of the month, things kind of took a turn. So let's get into it. I'm gonna try to go in order. So the first thing that I purchased was the Sydney Grace March bundle. Okay, that was $26.23. I didn't get anything extra with that bundle. It was, I think it was 4 shadows and a cream shadow, the Awkward Silence. Ooh, which is so pretty, oh my gosh. How do I feel about that purchase? I feel great about it. I decided last year that I wanted to, get these bundles each month. I really don't see anybody on YouTube talking about the monthly bundles, and I really like Sydney Grace as a brand. So this is something that I was gonna purchase whether I was doing YouTube or not. So I'm happy with that. The second thing that I purchased was, I wanna say it was the Chanel Balm Essential. And the Balm Essentials, and they're in my little makeup basket because I use it pretty much every day. It's the balm highlighter that gives you kind of that dewy look. Let me just get it. It's this one. And this is the one that came out with those face palettes. I did refrain from getting a face palette, but this came out with it. And I love highlighters like this. This is my second Balm Essential stick from Chanel. And they have like a purpley one that I kind of want. We'll see about that. But that purchase was $47.70. I did not regret getting this at all because of how much I use it. And I have one that's called Sculpting, which is more of a transparent shade, like a champagne-y transparent shade that I really, really like. And then the third thing I believe I purchased was some scents from Onyx fragrances. So I've been trying out different fragrance samples, and I told you about the website where I got some from Twisted Lily, but most of the ones that I have come from Onyx fragrances, and I'll put the website in the description box. What I really love about this brand, because they are small and growing, a lot of times they'll upgrade the sample size that you choose. So if you get a 1 millimeter vial, sometimes they upgrade some of the fragrances to 2. Did I say millimeter? I meant ml. I had one 2 ml fragrance upgraded to a 5 ml. And I like the 2 mls and up because the vial just has that stick and you just take it out like that. But the 2 ml bottles have a sprayer, which I prefer. So that was really nice. They have great customer service. So I purchased an order from them. It was $78.79. And I'll talk about those samples as I start to use them. So far it wasn't really bad. And then we hit the end of the month. So I purchased the Kayali Pistachio Gelato Yummy fragrance in the travel size. That was $26.50. I'm almost done using that travel size. I will be purchasing a full bottle of that because I love it so much. Then the Dior case that I had been looking at came back in stock. And typically those Dior cases for the Rouge Addict like lipsticks, those are $30. But this one in particular is called Burgundy Oblique. This one was $50, but I knew I wanted it, I was getting it, and I was putting my favorite shade Patchwork in it. So I did get that, and that came to $53. As far as everything we've talked about so far, I don't have any regrets. Like I'm happy with everything that we've talked about thus far. Then we knew that Pat McGrath was coming out with her bronzers. I think she came out with 8 shades. I purchased a duo. That video has yet to be filmed, but that came to a total of $63. My first impressions of the bronzers, I've only used them once. I don't think they stand out to me from any other bronzer that I have. I think they're nice. I think it's Bronze Nirvana, and then the Desert Glow. The Desert Glow, I have to look at it again to see how it looks on the skin, but you can see like little glitters, and I wasn't happy when I saw that. But I need to spend some more time with those bronzers before I can really speak on them, and hopefully that video will be up at some point this week. And then we found out about Angelica Nyquist's brush collab and her brand launch, which is Singe Beauty. So I purchased those brushes, and that came to a total of $65.36. And the brushes are sitting right here. I'm gonna get to them. All the stuff came and I was out of town. So I'm gonna be catching up with some of these items. Sydney Grace launched a palette and some face palettes and some multi-chromes, as well as their April bundle, and they launched it early. So I purchased the April bundle and 2 multi-chromes. I skipped on the palette just because I think I have a lot of Sydney Grace shades that are similar. I skipped on the face palette because as much as I want to try it, and eventually I will, it's just not something that I need to be in a rush.
Mama, can we try to go to Amir's house on Tuesday?
Did you talk to Amir? Tomorrow. Okay, so how are you gonna plan a friend visit? You haven't talked to the friend.
Well,
how's that gonna work?
He wasn't answering any of my calls.
So let's not try for Tuesday because Granddad has plans. Let's maybe try until you talk to him. Try after we talk to him, or I can talk to his mom. Okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I'm talking to them today. Okay, August, go ahead, cause I'm losing my no, I'm not losing my patience. I'm losing my train of thought, and I have to get ready to feed you.
What are you cooking?
I made barbecue chicken. There's some garlic pasta shells and some broccoli and fried shrimp. But y'all not eating the fried shrimp. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Well, let's not. $51.73 for the April bundle and the 2 multi-chromes. Then I decided to do a trial of the same day shipping from Sephora. And you know, you can cancel before the date, a certain date. It was a 3-day trial or something like that. Well, I decided to keep it because I do use that. And, you know, sometimes when I order things, I do want that instant gratification. And I don't have a Sephora. I mean, my Sephoras aren't far, but at least like 30 minutes. And I'm not trying to do all that. So $51.94 for that. And that lasts for the year. We have one more purchase. The last purchase, and this was the big one, was a full-size bottle of Cherry Punk, which is a cherry perfume by Room 1015. And I talked about this fragrance in my cherry fragrances video because I was saying how similar it smelled to Tom Ford's Cherry Smoke. But the Room 1015 perfume had way longer longevity, and the Tom Ford was gone like within a couple of hours. So I purchased the Cherry Punk and then a sampler because their fragrances look really unique. So they had a sampler, and I ended up spending, and let me just say this before I give you the total. The Cherry Punk is 100 ml. Now, you know, Tom Ford is charging $395 for 50 mLs. So Cherry Punk with the sample, the 100 ml and the sample, $167.07. But again, 100 ml perfume and a sample set. I can't remember how many are in the sample set. I was gifted the Nomad Cosmetics Royal Europe palette, so we're not going to include that. I'm going to change my battery and we're going to start with our preliminary total. So I just added up the total of all these purchases I just talked about. And that's why I said March started off well, but we went downhill very, very fast because some of these items are fragrances, which is something I wasn't purchasing. Some things are luxury items. I am feeling like I have less to show, or feeling like, oh, I didn't really purchase that much. Well, let me get to the total and then we can talk about all that at the end, because $631.32, and that is insane. That's absolutely ridiculous. I am sure that I've had months in the past where I've spent that much, but as I told you all, I'm trying to look at this makeup and the things I'm buying through a different lens. I have a ways to go. At one point I said I was going to have a budget of like $350 a month for makeup, and I think that's still a lot, especially considering that I do not look at myself as a review channel. So it's like, that's a lot. I also know some months are going to be heavier than others. Like April's going to be a heavy month. I can already say that. The Sephora sales coming, and the cart that I have is looking really ridiculous. So that's going to be another video, because definitely need your help with that. I ended up getting from AdSense $167.30, and that changes every month, but that's what I'm getting, just like, not just, but from Google, from the YouTube videos. That's not any type of links or anything like that. And then I had some Macari sales. Initially, I remember saying if I sold that Adept mystery box, well, it wasn't mystery, but you know what I'm saying. I was gonna deduct it from January's total, but that's just too far to go back. So I had that, and I sold the House of Sillage Disney fragrance, not the Minnie Mouse, y'all, because that Minnie Mouse one, I would love to get my hands on that, but it was the Mickey Mouse. But I ended up pretty much making the money back for that. My Macari balance was $283.27, and I kind of knew I had that, especially when I bought the Cherry Punk fragrance, because I was like, this is really gonna up my total. So we're gonna subtract both of those numbers from the $631.32. Minus the $167.30, we're down to $464.02, which is still way over what I feel is reasonable for me, because really nothing's reasonable at this point, actually. And we're down to $180.75. I'm actually okay with that. And what I was going to say before I gave the first total was, you know, I think my goals eventually are going to have to change, because eyeshadow palettes were the thing that I was spending so much money on, and it was just ridiculous. You know, trying all these brands, then wanting to try luxury brands, trying all these new formulas when they really weren't. It just was out of control. I mean, I had, and I still have a lot of palettes, but like right now, like I don't have like a box of palettes that I need to use or do a video for. I don't have that, and it feels great, because there's some days where I'm like, oh, I got to use this palette again for the third look. Now I'm like, which palette do I want to use? And that's what I want makeup to be for me. So I'm happy with that, and I feel like in a short amount of time, I've really conquered that goal of not buying every single eyeshadow palette. Like right now, there's an Alice in Wonderland eyeshadow palette about to release with ColourPop. I haven't bought from ColourPop in a while, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's Alice in Wonderland. Like, it is my favorite story. But I was like, what am I gonna do with this palette? I mean, am I gonna have it on display? Like my Spectrum Alice in Wonderland brushes aren't on display that I haven't used, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I am really learning to admire things from afar And the nostalgic things really used to get me in the past. I love Alice in Wonderland so much, but I just know that Colored Story is just not something that I'm going to be using a lot. It's not going to be a staple palette. It doesn't even have to be a staple palette, but it's not something that I feel like I'm going to be like, ooh, I really want to use that. Like, that's how I'm feeling about Tiny Marvels right now. Like, I cannot wait to get that out. I feel like I've conquered the eyeshadow palette situation, which I feel great about. But I know with my personality that I transfer things. I transfer one thing to something else. The obsession with the eyeshadow palettes is moving into fragrance because there's so much that I don't know, which is how I felt about makeup in the beginning. Like, oh, I want to try this, I want to try this, I want to try this. There's so much I don't know. I am identifying that now so I can keep that under control. If you transfer the money spending to something else, yeah, I can say that I'm not spending it on eyeshadow palettes, but like, I don't have a lot of money. So makeup can be a very expensive hobby, and it is. And so I'm okay with having a budget every month. You know, I'm fine with that. Because it's something that I love, but I can't like be out of control. Like the 180 that actually came like from my paycheck, I'm really okay with that. The thing to keep in mind is that every month I'm not gonna have that cushion. Every month I don't get that amount from AdSense. Every month I don't have something from Macari. Every month, I don't have a whole bunch of brand sales from Unearthly or Notoriously Morbid. So it's going to vary, but I just have to keep those things in mind. As far as everything that I bought, I don't have any regrets about any of it. I know I haven't tried the Singe Beauty brushes, but I mean, I still have Morphe brushes that are still in my collection from a long time ago, where some of them do have some use. So I don't see those brushes not being used, even if they're not the best brushes. I haven't watched any reviews yet, so I'm not saying they're not. I really don't know. I don't have all top of the line brushes. I do have some, but I mean, I have my MSQ brushes and my Eggshell brushes from Amazon, where I've gotten a whole brush set for like $12, and those are some of my most used brushes. So the brushes aren't going to go to waste. Dior case is definitely not going to waste. None of this on this list is going to go to waste. Let me know how you're feeling. Like, I don't need to know your makeup budget or if you have a budget. I mean, actually, I'd like to know if you have a budget. I would love to know that. And not like what the budget is. Like, we don't have to talk about all of that. But like, how do you feel about your expenses so far in March or this year alone? As I said before, my makeup expenses are better, but dipping into the fragrance, I mean, a lot of that's more expensive than the makeup, but that's why I've really gotten into doing the samples, because they are cheaper. And then maybe I'll decide on one fragrance or two that I really want a full-size bottle of. It's fun for me to smell the different things. I think it's fun. I don't know, you guys. I'm just, still trying to make my way in these makeup streets, and I know we all are, especially when we have something that we love. It can really, really be tough. So I just wanted to, talk to you all about what I spent this month, and that's it. I do have a lot of room for improvement, and I do hope that that's something that will be documented throughout the year. So thank you so much for taking out some of your time and hanging out with me for another one. I hope this was therapy for you. It always is for me. And until I see you again, make sure you are being gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself nice. Stay safe. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.